Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. My name is Tonchi Prusak. I'm your host for tonight's episode. It's our 13th episode for the year and our first one in winter. Today is June the 1st, and boy, outside does it feel like winter. Well, we're indoors, and wherever you are, hopefully you are nice and comfortable. And you're going to enjoy tonight's show, hopefully, because it is a great show. We're going to be talking about the Geelong Regional Football Facility and the proposed site that Football Victoria last week announced at Sutcliffe Reserve, which is on the northernmost tip of Corio. I went out there the other day and caught up with Deputy Mayor of the City of Greater Geelong, Eddie Contel, and we spoke about the proposed site, what's involved in the process, because everyone's celebrating at the moment and saying, yeah, this is great, fantastic, congratulations, but there is still a long way to go before we can even entertain the thought of having a regional facility. How does that affect the down south? Because there was talk of a sub-regional facility in Armstrong Creek. How will it affect the clubs, the Austrian and the Serbian clubs, which are located on Sutcliffe Reserve at the moment? And how will it affect other clubs and the sport in general? Well, those are some of the topics that we discussed, and it's a riveting interview, which was pre-recorded, but we will be bringing that a little bit later on tonight's show. Folks, lots happening, as is usual, always the case. We're starting to get towards the halfway mark of the winter football season as far as the state leagues are concerned, the Victorian Premier League men's and the Victorian Premier League women's as well. And certainly the local league is now in full swing. So we've got heaps of news, heaps of information. That'll all be coming up in the news desk shortly afterwards. We'll also be hearing from one of our major sponsors later on in the show about some of the programs that Curva Coaching Geelong offers kids here, especially with the World Cup kicking off next week. And, it certainly is going to be a feast of football coming up over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Speaking of Curva Coaching Geelong, here's some messages from one of our major advertising sponsors straight after that. Time for the news desk.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
Yes, and it is that time of week again. We look at what happened over the weekend just gone by. Let's turn our attention to the Victorian Premier League competition, Victorian Premier League 1, the men's competition, round 15. So we're into the second half of the season, well and truly into the second half of the season. And a great win by the Warriors over the Eagles on Saturday night. 3-0. Angus Chapman scoring in the 47th minute. Patrick Wall scoring a double in the 64th and in the 74th minute. He's in form, fine form, Patrick, at the moment, scoring 2 weeks in a row. This weekend, round 16 fixture at Kevin Bartlett Reserve in Richmond, kicking off at 3 p.m. North Geelong Warriors taking on Melbourne Serbia. It's a battle between 8th and 9th. This is going to be a great contest, a fantastic battle between two sides occupying a mid-table spot at the moment after 15 rounds. And certainly both of these two teams will be after the 3 points. The Warriors will be very, very keen to get that 3 points and start to edge closer to the top third of the competition standings. In VPLW action, well, the Geelong Galaxy seeming to do very well, and Emily Sutcliffe, who scored in the 11th minute, and Anne Sugimori in the 85th minute. I'm not sure who the third goal scorer was. May well have been an own goal. If anyone can tell us who scored that third goal in the chat section, do let us know. It was a 3-2 win nonetheless over Brunswick Juventus. And that meant that Galaxy United was able to leapfrog Galaxy, and they are in 4th position at the moment with 22 points. Now, this Saturday they come up against Ringwood City. That game at Jubilee Park kicking off at 2:45 p.m. Ringwood City are in 7th position. So, look, on paper, you'd think it's a fairly easy game for Galaxy, but not so. We always know that those games can be quite tough, especially on the road. Men's State League Round 10. Well, first of all, let's get into that one. State League 1. Geelong Soccer Club lost to Ballarat City, rather. Lockie Harper scoring the only goal for the Lions at Winslow Park on Saturday night. Unfortunate loss to Ballarat City, but they are in good form, Ballarat City, and they've jumped into second spot behind Geelong, who are still on top and doing rather well at the moment. In State League 2, Geelong Rangers drew with Mill Park. Kai Williams scoring again. He scored 2 last week, and he scored 1 goal. He followed it up with a goal this week. Akira Yoshida also scoring for the Rangers. Uni Hill Eagles defeated Surf Coast 3-0. And Western Eagles lost to a resurgent Corio, who have not lost in their last 3 games. 2-1 win to Corio on the road in the battle between the Eagles. The Geelong Eagles prevailed, courtesy of goals to Josh Mayen and Jaden Pissack. In State League 4, Action Bell Park returned to the winners list in a major way, thumping Melton Phoenix 4-0. Nicholas Musso scoring a double, Liam Muscat scoring 1, and James Pante also scoring 1. Over the page in State League 5, it was a battle between top and second. Top team Deakin Ducks travelled to second place Keilor Wolves. Goal by Jeremiah Jacoby and Matthew Humphreys ensured that the Ducks didn't leave empty-handed, and they came away from Green Gully Reserve with a point. 2-2 was the final score. Thornbury Athletic also drew with our team Lara United 0-0. In State League 6, Bowen seemed to be really hitting fine form. They defeated Alphington FC 3-2. Taj Beckworth, Finn Murphy, and Nathan Niedzwidzki scoring the goals for Bowen. Despite another goal by David Favetta, who is absolutely in scintillating form for Ocean Grove, they were unable to defeat Spring Hills, but they didn't lose either, and so they came away from Spring Hills with a 1-1 draw. Now, we'll have a look at the fixtures, but there are no fixtures coming up this weekend. It's a catch-up round, and there's only one team that's going to be in action, and that's Lara United. But let's start off at State League 1. In 2 weeks' time, on Saturday, June the 13th, Geelong will come up against Westvale Olympic at McKechnie Reserve. In State League 2, all the Geelong teams will be at home. Rangers will host Altona North. Corio up against third-placed Altona Uni Hill Eagles. And fourth, Surf Coast taking on second-place Williamstown at Banyule Warrior Reserve. Bell Park will travel to 5th place Watsonia Heights in State League 4 action. And then over the page, as we said, in State League 5, Lara United is the only team in action this weekend, when they take on Keilor Wolves, 4th place Keilor Wolves at the Lara Recreation Reserve at 3 p.m. So if you're not doing anything this weekend, you're not going along to any of the Victorian Junior Country Championships games that will be held in Geelong this weekend, pop down to Lara Recreation Reserve this Saturday afternoon for your fix of local football. On the following week, on Saturday, June the 13th, Deakin Ducks will host Darebin United and Lara United will host the Moonee Valley Knights. In State League 6, Ocean Grove will host Melbourne University and Truganina Hornets will host our Bowen Soccer Club. That's in 2 weeks' time. In Women's State League action on the weekend, after a string of bad results, North Geelong Warriors defeated Collingwood City 2-1, courtesy of the Stosic sisters, Zoe and Evie, both getting a goal apiece and providing the Warriors with only their second win of the season. So they jump into 6th position, 2 wins and 4 losses from their 6 games so far. So hopefully the tide has turned for the Warriors. No games this weekend, but in 2 weeks' time on Sunday, June the 14th, the Warriors will travel to Aston Fields to take on Craigieburn City. And it's going to be a tough ask because Craigieburn City are currently in 3rd position on the ladder. Let's turn our attention to the local league, and it was round 2 in the men's Division 1 competition. Surf Coast went down to Armstrong United 2-0. Golden Plains also went down to Bell Park 2-0. Rangers at home defeated FC Leopold 4-1, and Deakin Ducks went down to Bowen 2-1. No games this weekend, so the weekend of June 12th to 14th, there are the round 3 fixtures. Once again, 3 Friday night games: Bowen versus Geelong Rangers, Leopold versus Golden Plains, and Bell Park at home to Surf Coast. The only Sunday game will be Armstrong United taking on the Deakin Ducks. If we turn our attention now to the women's competition, the local league, in round 2, Ocean Grove went down to Surf Coast 4-0. Lara United defeated Bell Park 2-1. Armstrong United and Deakin Ducks fought out a 1-1 draw, and Bowen Soccer Club thumped Geelong Rangers 9-0. Now, all the games in round 3 will be played on Saturday, June the 13th. Ducks at home to the Rangers, Bowen hosting Ocean Grove, Bell Park at home to Armstrong United, and Surf Coast and Lara United do battle in Torquay. Now, while we're on the local competition, FC Leopold came out with this post earlier this evening, record-breaking juniors, and they're celebrating more of their junior players stepping up to first-team senior football over the weekend for the first time. On Friday night, young Harvey Dickens, he became the youngest ever men's first-team player in the club's history when he came off the bench against the Rangers. Well done to young Harvey. And then Saturday saw Audrey Smythe and Emma Bennett make their debut appearance for the women's team against Corio. Emma, who was playing as goalkeeper, became the youngest ever senior player in the club's history, male or female, taking the title away from her teammate, Annabelle Harvey. So some fantastic juniors doing really well, stepping up to senior football in the Geelong region. Speaking of the juniors, obviously this weekend coming, we've got the Victorian Junior Country Championships. Hopefully the weather's going to be a little bit nicer than it has been lately, and is forecast for the rest of this week. But winter is here, of course, and we expect that. But if you have got an opportunity, especially if you do have any juniors, get out and watch the Victorian Junior Country Championships. Support our Geelong boys and girls teams, and also take in some quality young footballers from around the state. It's time for a little bit of a commercial break, and when we return, we'll be speaking to our special guest tonight. He's the Deputy Mayor of the City of Greater Geelong, and we'll be discussing all things about concerning the Geelong Regional Football Hub or facility that is being planned for the region's north up in Corio. Don't go away, folks. You are tuning into the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Furphy, you've known us previously as Geelong Galvanising. For over 30 years, our team has specialised in delivering high-quality surface finishes for steel installations and products in the construction, landscaping and engineering industries. That's not changing. What is changing? We're making things more official. The company formerly known as Geelong Galvanising is now known simply as Furphy. If it's steel solutions you're after, you're in the right place. For all our customers, both old and new, this transition simply means more capabilities, more locations, and the same trusted experience. We're still here to deliver steel solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Only now, we're doing it under a name that's been part of our collective story in Australian manufacturing for over a century. For all your steel solutions, contact our Geelong office on 5275 7555 or email us at sales.geelong@furphy.com. Or pop in and see us. We're still at the same place at 360 Bacchus Marsh Road in Corio. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. We're coming to you from the northernmost part of Corio, Sutcliffe Reserve. It's been earmarked by Football Victoria last week in an announcement that this will be the site of the new football regional facility in Geelong. Well, what's the next step? What needs to be done to secure this facility or this development? We're going to catch up with someone who's been really pushing this topic hard over the last couple of years in Councillor Eddie Contal. Well, we're here with Eddie Contal, Councillor Eddie Contal here at Sutcliffe Reserve. And first of all, Eddie, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Welcome back, I should say.
Oh, it's lovely to be on location with you, Tonchi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and as I'm looking over here at the vast expanse of nothingness at the moment, can you imagine in a few years' time, we're going to have a regional football facility. Now, that's what Football Victoria last week announced. But let's go through the whole process because you've been heavily involved in this whole process. They've earmarked or they've identified this as a site, as a site of a future football regional facility. What does that involve? What does that basically mean at the moment?
Yeah, first of all, Tonchi, when you see nothingness, I see potential with great vision.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, what it means is that now Football Victoria and the City of Greater Geelong have identified this location as its preferred location for a potential regional soccer or football facility. As you know, we've been talking about the needs for a regional facility in our area for many years.
Yeah.
What this does now, it puts a pinpoint into a definite location.
Yeah, and speaking of the location, it's quite loud because we can hear the ring road. It is council land, and it is located in the heart of the football community in the northern suburbs. And now we've got to put it all into perspective. At the same time, down south around Armstrong Creek, there's also another development on the horizon, isn't it? Is it a sub-regional facility? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, as we know, that area of Geelong and the Surf Coast is also growing at a rate of knots.
Yeah.
So when City of Greater Geelong, along with the help from Football Victoria and G21, established its soccer strategy, it identified two needs: a sub-regional facility in the south and a regional facility in the north. So both are needed.
Yep.
You talk about listening to the noise of the highway. Again, I see that as great opportunity. We've got connectivity straight to Melbourne. We've got the airport. We've got the ship terminal. Perfect location.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, from the north and the south, I guess. Absolutely. Now, a lot of people are really excited, and I'm one of those, and rightly so, because this is the first step in what we've been talking about for some people would say 20 years now. But it's just the first step, and obviously we've earmarked the facility or the location. What next? What's the next processes involved, next steps involved?
As you say, Tonchi, a great step forward, but it's a small step in what still has to be achieved. So we need everyone to understand that what's happened is we've identified a location, a potential location. No funding has been committed to, nor has any been really sourced just yet. But what it does, it allows us now to be able to speak to all levels of government, be able to open the books up to potential investors, whether it be private or corporate, to now design a facility and cost it and be able to obtain the planning approvals and the funding to build it.
Yeah. So a business case, has it been done, or is that still to be done for as far as the actual facility is concerned?
No, the actual facility would still need to be designed. There is a loose business case that council have done in terms of a regional soccer facility, identifying the needs for it. Football Victoria have done the same. And there are some high level costs associated with it. And now you've got to go into detailed design.
Yeah, and I guess the important thing is that the strategic thing is that it has been released in a year that it's a state government election, and this year it's going to be very, very close. So it's obviously something that all levels of government you mentioned, but specifically the state government, because correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to sporting facilities, the bulk of the funding comes from the state government. So they are the key to this project, would you say?
Yeah, look, Tonchi, you and I spoke about this exact topic. I can't recall, might have been 18 months.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So ago. We talked exactly about the election coming up. First of all, I've got to applaud Football Victoria for getting this body of work done. They helped us catapult that, and City of Greater Geelong worked closely with them. Yes, it's imperative that it was delivered before the state election in November, so that we now can talk with state government about potentially getting funding, even if it was just for the planning, so that we can get that moving. To answer your question, yes, by and large, a lot of our facilities here in the Geelong region are co-funded by state government. That doesn't mean that federal government can't go into it. We've seen it with Cardinia Park. There's been millions, hundreds of millions put into Cardinia Park. This deserves the same.
How can the football community, both from an individual footballer perspective and the clubs themselves and collectively, how can we as a football family apply a bit more pressure on the state and the federal governments?
Yeah, again, you and I touched on this last time. First of all, continue to be interested in the topic like they have been. I've seen a lot of social media posts, and most of them have been really positive. Be positive about what we're wanting to deliver here, because it will be good for the broader community, which we can talk to a little more. And also, every opportunity that you get to talk to a state member, particularly here in Corio, when we're talking, with due respect to Ella George, continue to advocate to Ella the need for this facility. And I know that Ella appreciates that, but give her all the support to go after that funding.
Now, earlier this year, I think Football Victoria, in conjunction with a bipartisan parliamentary group, Football Victoria backed it, and the parliamentarians, including members of the Liberal and Labor Party, formed a joint, I think it was a footballers. That's it, yeah. Tell us a bit more about that. And is that something as well that, from the council's perspective, but also Football Victoria's perspective, that's another little tool that we could use to engage the state government?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if you go on the Football Victoria website, they encourage you to engage in Level the Playing Field, I believe the program is called.
Yes.
And that is all about making sure that there are sufficient and appropriate football facilities in Victoria, particularly in regional Victoria.
And speaking of which, if you haven't already, Level the Playing Field, go to the Football Victoria website, Google Level the Playing Football Field. There's a petition at the moment going, and look, there's 7,000 plus players in Geelong, which translates to well over 20,000 members of the football community, be it parents, be it partners, be it friends, family, etc., etc. So we're quite a sizable community, without a doubt. If you haven't, folks, go on there and do sign that petition, because that's really important. Now, Mike McKinstry, who's the chair of the Geelong region, of the Football Victoria Geelong region, as it's called now, he constantly talks about keeping this topic relevant and always bringing it up to the surface. And just when you sort of think, all right, people have sort of forgotten about it, it's important to bring it up. Now, people out there might be thinking, oh, yep, it's done and dusted, we're going to have it. But as Mike would say, we've got to keep this conversation relevant and this topic relevant. What would you say to that, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Mike's been a great advocate for this this initiative, as well, as we all know. I want to also make sure that everyone understands that the City of Greater Geelong is very, very supportive of such a hub. And in fact, it's one of our council priorities that we're taking to state government to advocate for. So it is on our priority list as well. It's very important that we continue to keep the topic at front of mind, that we continue to keep to discuss it. Let's not get discouraged. I know that we've been talking about it for some time. There is still a lot of work to be done, though. As I said, this is just identifying where it could be built. We now need to obtain the funding to do that, and initially probably the planning funding, and then design, which we would like to obviously ensure that we have the community involved in that as well, and then hopefully delivery.
Yeah. Now, just behind us, there's the Austrian club and the Serbian club. They have their social clubs here as well. What's going to happen with those organisations? Will they remain here? Will they be relocated? Will they have to be forced to move? What's...
Look, the Austrians and the Serbians have been here for decades and done a great job, really looking after this area. So we need to make sure that we continue to work with them. We'll make sure that we do that so that they are looked after in the whole scheme of the project.
Excellent. Yeah, I think there's room for everyone, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And infrastructure and what you're not, is it projected to be an entrance and exit off the ring road, or will the roads around here have to be done up or anything like that? How do you see the sort of outside of this? Will there be complaints from the neighbours and things like that? Because it's not just the field, it's not just the club rooms, the grandstands, and what you're not. It's obviously the outlying infrastructure. Will that have an effect on any development?
Look, it's hard to foreshadow everything that's going to happen, but I've been around long enough to know that when you have a development, small, large, or otherwise, you are going to receive feedback, and we'll be asking for that. What I have found in this area of Geelong, by and large, the community that live here in this Corio area have been really supportive of everything that has occurred here at Sutcliffe Reserve. And those of us that have been in Geelong for some time now know that we've had circus here.
Yes.
We've used it for Avalon Airport air show.
Yes.
We've had car shows here. And the community have been really, really supportive, because this can be a bit barren here. Sometimes it can cause some security issues. So the community generally like activity in this area.
Good idea.
As for access and egress, all of that still probably has to be designed, Tonchi, but it would make perfect sense to be able to come straight off the ring road, wouldn't it?
What are we looking at, like, as far as a time frame? How in your opinion, sort of a best case scenario? We won't look at worst case scenario, but when could we actually see a functioning football regional facility here?
It's a tough one to answer. Best case scenario would be that we get a good amount of funding in this state election to allow us to at least go to planning and design. I think that would be best case, because then we're starting the process. If we miss out on all funding in this state election, that will put us behind a bit, and then we'll have more work to be done.
Yeah. Now, finally,
fan here.
A visitor here. Wonder if he'll have to be relocated.
That might be the new club, the Dogs.
It could be. But finally, look, it's an exciting time in Geelong, and I think the last time we spoke to you, you were a councillor, now you're deputy mayor. So congratulations on that, Eddie. But it's an exciting time because there's been talk about, obviously, we mentioned down at Armstrong Creek Sports Developments down there, the new convention centre is opening up, I think, in a couple of months' time in the city there. But there's also been talk that development at the Geelong Arena as well that would see maybe one day an 8,000-seater stadium that could accommodate NBL. Coupled with the likely possible, well, let's call it the possible and likely development of a football regional facility, the next 5 years could be very, very exciting for Geelong.
Not could be. Next 5 years will be extremely
and the marathon.
exciting.
We have to talk about the marathon as well.
Exactly. And when we spoke on your show about this last time, we talked about we've got a regional baseball. We obviously have Cardinia Park. We're now going to have a sub-regional hockey centre. We need basketball, and we definitely need soccer and football.
And speaking of football, the World Cup coming up next month.
Live site in July.
I was going to say, tell us a little bit more about that. Do you have any information regarding that?
Yes. At this stage, we're looking to have a live site at Johnson Park.
Fantastic.
Which will be absolutely incredible, and hoping to see all the football fans and the broader community out there.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds fantastic. Do you have a tip for the World Cup?
I think I'm going to just go Australia.
Good on you, Eddie. Deputy Mayor Councillor Eddie Contel joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast on location for what is going to be the future regional football facility in Geelong. We'll be back straight after this short break.
Thank you.
Where in Geelong can you get great food from such a wide-ranging menu? Friendly staff and a bar to enjoy drinks with friends? Live sport in the beer garden from Thursday nights to Sunday afternoons? Live music every Saturday night and every Sunday night? And our famous Grandma's Roast every Sunday lunch? Well, at the Elephant and Castle, of course. Situated on 158 McKillop Street in East Geelong, the Elephant and Castle has everything that you will want and need when you decide to have a night out on the town. The Elephant and Castle is the home of the Socceroos in Geelong. We'll be showing all Socceroos games live during the coming World Cup. For more information on all of our upcoming events or to book one online, click on the book tab now on the Elephant and Castle website at www.elephantandcastle.com.au.
Hi everyone, my name's Adrian Layer. I'm the Director of Curva Coaching Geelong. With the excitement around the World Cup, I just wanted to let you know what programs we offer and who we offer them for. We have our First Skills program, which is for 3 to 6 year olds and is an introductory program to football, and fundamentally we're teaching the kids to love the game. From there we have our Creative Player program, which is for 7 to 16 year olds, and that's a program for the kids that may already be playing or kids from that age group that just want to hone their skills, learn the game, fall in love with the game and get better at the game. The last program we offer is our Performance Academy, and that's where we are tonight, and that's for the kids who are really keen to develop their skills, get better at football, may already be playing club football and showing a real interest in the game. So if your child has football fever, we have a program for absolutely everybody.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
And that pretty much takes us to the end of tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Thank you, folks, for being a part of tonight's show. Just before we do go, it is the end of the financial year is fast approaching. We've just got the rest of this month to go. We are seeking business advertisers, business sponsors. We're still looking for a major sponsor. We've probably got enough funding for another 5 episodes. We are hoping to see out the season of 25 episodes. We're up to episode 13. Like I said, we've probably got enough now for another 5 episodes. And after that, well, we will see what happens. We do need the support of the Geelong football community. So do drop us an email, community sports media at gmail.com. We'll have that down the bottom very, very shortly. As an individual, if you don't have a business or you're not aligned with the club, you can still support the podcast by going over to patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. And for just $5 a month, it's basically a donation. The cost of a cup of coffee at your local cafe. In some cases, it's more than that. But anyway, we do need your help. We do need your support. If you want the only media in Geelong that is supporting your sport, we do ask for your help. That takes us to the end. As we said, we hope to be back again next week. Even though it is the King's birthday holiday, we hope to be back next Monday night at 8 p.m. with a whole heap of news, views, and even though the state leagues are taking a bit of a break, it's an opportunity for us to actually look at the halfway mark of the season and see how the teams are travelling. Until then, folks, enjoy the rest of this week. Enjoy the long weekend next weekend. We hope to see you next Monday evening at 8 p.m. Bye-bye.